Right, we know the winner. It's the EuProfiler application, which during the last European parliamentary elections was one of the most prominent applications. You know that there hasn't been a lot of participation, a big turnout in the parliamentary elections. I think it's actually one of the lowest in the history of the parliamentary elections since the creation of these elections in 1979. However, many organizations and people have tried to do something during the election. Many people at the European Parliament have tried to do something to raise awareness amongst citizens in the member states. At the time of the elections, the Czech Republic chaired the EU. There are also organizations and individuals in civil society. Here we have Florence civil society representatives who have done something, so let's call them. Maybe you could explain first how you got the idea. I mean, it sounds very straightforward, but no one had thought of that. We had already thought of this earlier, mainly in Switzerland, in the Netherlands, and in other countries in Europe, but also in the US. It's quite simple. We wanted to help citizens find their bearings in the political landscape, which is becoming increasingly complex to understand, and citizens find it very difficult to find their bearings. To do this, you can draw up a list of opinions, and citizens may give their own opinions on this. Political parties have also responded to this. Then we set up an algorithm, a software application, which can combine the answers of politicians and citizens. Citizens can see which political party is closest to their own beliefs. We don't know whether this helps people in their choice. We are trying to analyze this at the moment. We were not the first to do this. But it's true that we were the first to use this in a European Parliament campaign. Sorry, I have not introduced you. You are Alexander. Alexander Trechsel. And just next to you, I said you were you had the technological brains just next to you. Fabian Breuer. I think it's quite interesting to highlight this. You both belong to the European University Institute. Well, it's a European institute. Thanks to this institute, 600 PhD students can graduate in social sciences. It's the largest PhD program in Europe and also postgraduate program in Europe. It's really a powerhouse for knowledge and research. There's political sciences, history, and economics. Are there many people like you in the institute, Fabian, who are absolutely thrilled by internet?
Where many different researchers approach the topic of e-democracy and e-participation, and particularly Alex is working with many students who focus on the role the internet plays in influencing and shaping politics. But possibly just one more word, because you were mentioning us as a tandem. I guess it's really important to say that the EuProfiler consisted of many people working on it. Alex had the idea and was the project leader and developer. I had the pleasure to work as project manager. But it's important to say that we worked with two technical partners, SmartVote and Keys Compass from Switzerland and from the Netherlands, who had experiences in developing such tools. So they helped us from the technical side. But most importantly, and that's important to stress, the award goes to a team of 140 people, because as you can imagine, we did this in almost all national official EU languages, and for every country, because we covered all the 27 EU member states, plus to simulate the elections, Turkey, Croatia and Switzerland. So for every country we had a team of 3 to 5 experts.
Sorry, 140?
140.
Non, non, on a eu
140 people.
Ouais.
140.
So just to imagine, I mean, only the translation and the expertise and coding the parties and getting the party programs and the interviews of the party leaders, I mean, it would have been impossible to do this with all these people who did it pretty much on a voluntary basis, and which allowed us to set up this tool, because it would have been impossible otherwise.
How many net users use your website, your application?
During the campaign, there were more than 2.5 million people who came to visit the site, of which almost 1 million went through the whole application and came to the final result, where they got then 2.5 million visitors and 1 million people who got the final advice which party is closest to their preferences.
Il y a un débat très fort en Europe.
There's a big debate going on in Europe, and actually things are seen differently in the US. The debate is about personal data. As a citizen, what can you give on the internet? And you're telling me that 2.5 million internet users visited your website, and they actually gave a lot of information about their political beliefs. How come it's working that much? I think it was just a political curiosity. We gave people a tool to quench their thirst for political information. And of course, we protected personal data. Some people wanted to know more about themselves and about politics, and they sent us their email addresses and their phone numbers, and they have signed up. They have signed up to create a new community. Is this inspirational for local authorities, Eric Legal? Because this is the interest of these different initiatives. I mean, could this be done for local authorities? Well, it's a double-edged sword. I think you have to switch off your mics. It's a double-edged sword. It's actually quite worrisome quite worrying for democracy to think that you need a software application to tell you whether you're closer to the Conservatives or to the Democrats and so forth. But I've tested this out. In fact, this software application confirmed my political beliefs, so it's fairly consistent. Yes. I mean, it was not going to completely destroy my political beliefs. And by doing this also, I realized that there were more than 300 political parties in Europe. So then you can just understand that European citizens may be a bit lost, may feel a bit lost amongst so many parties in Europe. So it's interesting actually to see how these tools are used and to see how you would respond on such or such subject. There were some very precise questions, and you just think to yourself, what would I say? So I'm not going to say that it's important for civics, but it's very important for the thinking process. I would just like to add that, unlike other systems that already exist, our system can help the user in full transparency why we coded each part in such or such way. Each opinion which is expressed is coded by our company. I think it was about 174 parties in Europe. There are about 30 statements, 30 claims like this. But the user can see why the party has been coded in compliance with such or such item. So let me maybe you can tell us again what the address of the site is. So it's www.EuProfiler.eu.